I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. All out of bubblegum.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Outsiders. I'm your host, Sean Sims. A lot's going on. I'm with my superstar co-host, Doc Cheatham. Doc, how are things going?
Things are going marvelously, and good day to everybody.
Well, we've got some crucial information that we want to get out to people that maybe they're not even aware of it. Has to do with the election, the city election again. We're going to have as our special guest, Crystal Parker will be our special guest as well. And we'll be going over the information with some things going on with the former president, Trump. When you say that in Baltimore City, when you say Trump's name, it triggers. All you have to do, if you're in the middle of a conversation, if you just want the conversation to go another direction, you want to misdirect, you don't want to talk about something, just say one word, just say Trump, and watch the whole conversation change. So it's a game changer if you want to get out of that type of situation. And Doc, because we always have to get started, we always have to. Last week we didn't talk about them. I'm remiss in that, but the Orioles are rolling right along. I have my Orioles shirt on, everybody can see on my YouTube. Got my Orioles shirt and the cat, even though it's backwards. How do you think things are going with our O's, Doc?
I would say fairly good. I would like for them to be good or better, but I would say fairly good. You know, we understand that we have a young team, and they are faced with some challenges so far as pitching consistently, hitting consistently, not swinging too often. And other than the best team money can buy, the New York Yankees, we look very good. I think we're behind the Yankees maybe 2 games. We play what they call a semi-double hitter today. We finished yesterday's game, and we play another game today. But I'm very encouraged by this team. I just think, you know, we got to let these young guys know, you know, you got to take a different attitude when you're playing in the majors, not AAA. So I'm really excited about this team, and I got on an outfit today that's purple and orange. It's Orioles and Ravens.
Oh, you got? I've got on the orange, as my YouTube folks will see, and it looks like we're a game and a half behind those dreaded Yankees. Didn't we whoop on the Yankees when we played them? Didn't we beat them pretty good?
We put something on them, but we got quite a few more games to play against them. So I think that's going to be the difference in the American League in general. I think it's going to come out of our division, and I think it's going to be between the Yankees and the Orioles.
Yeah, they're going at it. I mean, the next team in the ratings is, in the standings, I should say, in the American League East, the Red Sox, and they're 7.5 out. So I believe what you're saying is correct. So, like we said, go O's, go Orioles, keep
Let's
rolling.
Go O's.
Now I want to get right into it, because what you have on YouTube is you have, and I haven't really been pushing this because the show is going to be making some adjustments, technical adjustments, movements in The Outsiders. I was planning on doing this a little while ago. I said, no, just hold up, just keep the content moving along. But I'm getting some people in my ear, and they're saying, hey, Sean, you can do more with this show. So we may be making some adjustments soon and to upgrade the show. But you have this analytics thing with anything on YouTube. And if you see, wait a minute, people are watching this long, it's this many people are watching, and I've heard there have been issues about YouTube and what they're reporting as views happening, and people saying, no, I know I have a whole lot more views than what they're showing. And that can be an issue with YouTube. Sorry, YouTube, but that can be an issue. And I know that I have a whole lot more views than what's showing. That's what I believe from what I'm getting back from people. But I digress. So because of these things, and again, I have some folks who want to help and do some upgrades and on the show. So we're going to be making some good changes, Doc, with the Outsiders podcast. So I want to let people know that's coming along. And I want to get into this guy, Armstead Jones. I told you all before I had this podcast, there was the election 2022, and I was actually an article was done by Fern Shen, Baltimore Brew, with the certification of the election 2 years ago. I was involved in that certification meeting. You can see the article in the Baltimore Brew, and Armstead Jones and I went head to head, and I told them, this is not right. Flash drives missing. You're putting flash drives in. This whole thing should not be certified. There should be a forensic audit. The election process, as far as flash drives in, going to someone immediately, put in a plastic bag, sent over to, given to security, sent over to the election board. Anyway, I want to play this because this is what's going on, and a lot of people may not even know there are issues going on right now. And Doc, I want us to cover this before we call Crystal. I want to go over this. So let me go ahead and cue this up. Here we go.
A coalition of concerned citizens, ex-felons, and the Communities United organization are calling for the dismissal of Baltimore City Elections Chief Armstead Jones.
Armstead Jones personifies, in our opinion, a continuing effort to suppress the vote in this city.
Now, Doc, I'm going to stop a few times. That was Leo Burrows. That was your good friend, Mr. Burrows. Hello, Doc. Is this thing on?
Yes, sir. Leo W. Burrows Jr., our senior warrior.
Yeah, that was.
And I think his comments were on point.
That was Leo Burrows. I'm trying to get him on the show. I couldn't reach him, but let's continue.
Let him sell some tickets. He'll come.
Okay. So let's continue to hear about Armstead Jones and how he's handled the elections.
They cite polls not opening or closing on time, letters sent to ex-felons telling them they're not eligible to vote. State officials say, however, 35 letters were accidentally mailed and correction.
Now let me preface this by saying this was several. What was it? This was a few years ago or several years ago. I believe this was like 7 years ago. Yeah, this was several years ago, like 7 years ago. I pulled this information up. So this is not this past election or this current election or this past election in 2022. This was actually further back than that. So let's continue.
Letters immediately followed. A judge shortage, they cite. Election results certified before all ballots counted. And miscounted ballots. Demonstrators contend, all adding up to
voter suppression. I felt discouraged during the Baltimore election because I wasn't able to vote, but now I was able to vote this time and my vote wasn't counted.
This year,
and we just learned that officials are looking for several flash drives containing votes.
Now this is 2 years ago. I could have pulled up more, but because of time constraints, I'm going to go with these time periods. So this was 2 years ago.
We realized that several of them have not appeared, whether they're in their bags, their supply bags, whether they left them in the scanner.
Well, they were in the bags. So let me get this straight. You got the flash bags and the scanners, because I'm going to deep dive. We're going to deep dive this a little bit. Doc, what do you think about the flash drives? I just want your opinion. Ending up in bags or being taken out of the scanners and somehow ending up in all these different locations. I mean, is this normal?
No, and I'm sad to say that two governors have responsibility. I won't necessarily say blame, but they have responsibility for having Armstead beat Crawley Jones in the position he's had. We've had at least, I would say, close to a dozen years of poor administrative mandates coming from him under his leadership. You got some great folks that work in that office, but at the head is someone who really doesn't care. Martin O'Malley put him in years ago.
Wow.
That was punishment to me. And then Hogan had him in 8 years. We've definitely had voter suppression. Every election that we've had under his direction as the director has had controversy. And this one now even has an additional one, that they left the apparatuses in the machine and they doubled the number of votes.
Yeah,
it's every year. He stopped former fellows from registering to vote. He didn't put a early voting site in the largest area of black folks in West Baltimore. The list just goes on and on. And I really think this governor and the folks, all these Democrats that are in office, they need to do something. We've had a decade of problems with the Baltimore City Election Board, and it starts at the top. They got some good employees there, but the leadership is the problem. The management is the problem.
Well, let me continue because there's more.
When that type of situation happens, they download the information from the voting booth hard drive on another thumb drive and will turn that information into election headquarters.
A few flash drives with votes on them, you guys don't know where they are. Can you talk about that?
Well, we may not know where they are, but they are accessible by going to look for them. Some judges have indicated they put them in certain bags after we've called. We've looked in those bags. We have individuals that go out the next day after the election to gather those kind of thumb drives that have been left behind, left in the scanner. So the staff is doing that now. And then if necessary, there's a backup system where we just rescan from the scanner. We just upload the data into a new thumb drive.
But the director of Baltimore City's elections, Armstead Jones, isn't so sure.
Now, this is Mackenzie Frost, and this is the most recent debacle. She didn't talk about the specimen ballots. Mackenzie, you should have brought that up. I don't know who stopped you from doing it, but you should have brought up in your report the specimen ballots that were sent in, and in an email it was said from an election official that they were shredded. This is in his email. So that specimen ballot that was sent in, people thinking it was a real ballot, but it wasn't, that should have been brought up. But I digress. Let's continue.
Can you explain what the human error was last week that we heard from the State Board of Elections?
That's a good question. I'm waiting to hear myself.
Listen to this. Stop. I've been trying to be strict.
These are the people that he trained. He trained them. The responsibility starts at the top. Armstead was in charge. His responsibility was to train the election judges to know what they're doing. My polling place didn't open until an hour and 15 minutes later because the judges didn't know the hell what they were doing.
And he's the one who trains them.
Yes, he's the one responsible.
He's the one who's responsible. Armstead and I had it out on the canvassing floor, in front of several witnesses. He and I had it out. I didn't go at the guy to have anything out. I just had a question for him regarding mask. You had to wear your mask or something. I just simply had a question because his folk didn't have their masks on, and some woman came up to me, and I had my mask pulled down because I saw people had their masks down, and I frankly didn't like the stupid things. And she goes, well, sir, you have to have your mask on. Sir, you have to have your mask on. I'm like, okay, fine. Then I look and I say, wait a minute. These people here don't have their mask on. Let me go talk and see, see what's going on. Why don't they have that? You're not gonna have me put mine on, and you're not gonna have yours on. That's not the world I live in. So I went to talk to him about it, and they said, well, talk to Armstead. He's in charge, Armstead. I said, sir, your people aren't wearing the masks. I'm being told to put mine on. Could you explain that, please?
No explanation needed. That shows that someone's been given the power, and he's flexing the muscle. But I blame more than the two governors that we have. There are four people in particular that have been in office for a significant period of time, and we need to put blame where it needs to be blamed. Antonio Hayes, Mary Washington, Bill Ferguson, and Jill Carter. Those are the four senators for Baltimore City.
Well, I'm glad you made that. I'm glad you brought that up, Doc. But let me finish my story, because I want to get to the part that's the good part. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't gotten there yet. Okay, so he's going back and forth with me, trying to battle me on a logic issue, which you're going to lose. And he did. And he kept saying the same thing over again. And I kept saying, no, they don't have the mask on. I have mine on, could you explain, etc. So he cursed. I don't have time for this shite SHI.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he did. I said, excuse me?
Church going Armstead Jones?
Yes, he did, right on the canvassing floor. I said, what? So he went, what'd you just say to me? I said, why don't you come back here and finish this conversation? What did you just say to me? So he walks off. Okay, I said, oh, that's how it is? I got in touch with the state board, Linda Lamone, got in touch with him about what happened, and after that, we just butted heads. So this jag-off, so I straightened him out. But anyway, that's another story. But there's more with Armstead Jones, and there's more information. So the Outsiders, that's what we do. Let me go ahead and continue, and then we'll finish up on this.
Director? Well, I am the director. The explanation that I've received in writing right now is not clear, not acceptable.
What do you mean not acceptable?
Well, I know what the system can do and what it's not supposed to do. So until we get clarification from the state, I'm going to leave it there.
There are reports of concerns about a flash drive with votes on it. Based on Jones's responses, it's unclear if the state believes a flash drive was read by a tabulator more than once. So what happened with the flash drive?
Well, let me just say this. A flash drive, according to the system, can only be inserted once. And once it's put in, it cannot duplicate.
Is that what happened?
I don't know that yet. I'm a little leery about saying human error if something can't be done but once.
As it stands right now, you don't necessarily believe what the state is saying.
Well, what I'm saying right now, until I get a definitive answer and response from the vendor, I'm not real satisfied.
Just 2 years ago, election-related flash drives back in the headlines. Drives for 12 precincts in the July 2022 primary were misplaced. Do you believe that you are the right person to oversee the city elections moving forward, given the questions and concerns and issues that we've seen?
Well, let me just say this. In the years that I've been...
Oh, shut up. I don't even want to finish. Just shut up. Armstead, shut up. These jag-offs, ass clowns, are at the top, need to get rid of you. You should have been fired years ago. This is the Baltimore City, as far as their elections are concerned, is. Doc, I will argue with you and anybody else. I'm going to say this. It is a banana republic voting system. It is a banana third world country, banana republic election system.
We're putting a lot of blame and responsibility, but I think, and I don't disagree with you, but I really think, folks, we need to get to the bottom of this issue. 2 years ago, the polling place that I went to, they weren't going to open up the polls until 8 o'clock. I said, you need to call down to the Board of Elections. Don't you know what time it's supposed to open? I said, it's 7 o'clock. It's been like one issue after another. Every election we have, there is something, and it starts at the top. And,
Yep.
you know, one thing we need to bring up, you know, I got 7 issues I want to bring up to the 2 candidates that are running for United States Senator. But one of the questions that needs to be asked, Hogan, you appointed this guy, he's been in office for 8 years. You know, you have some responsibility, Hogan.
Well, who appointed Armstead?
Armstead was appointed by Martin O'Malley. Martin O'Malley was not pleased that Doc Cheatham and the NAACP sued him, so he sent a message back, Doc Cheatham, you would never get another appointment from the Democrats or me, and he lived up to his word, but I made certain that the entire United States know that he arrested thousands of people, and unfortunately, he lost the lawsuit that I filed against him. I won that lawsuit. So yeah, he won at the end of the day. I'm not in charge of the election board, but I will tell y'all this: I was the first black person that was in charge of the Maryland Association of Election Officials. Somebody knew I knew what elections were, but you know, it's a political game. But right now, you know, that's a question that also needs to be posed of Hogan. Why has Baltimore City been allowed to have error after error after error? You're the one that appointed him, Hogan.
Well, let's Westmore. Oh, anyway, Banana Republic. Baltimore City elections are Banana Republic.
Oh,
It's a third world country. You people live in a third world country election system. You have thugs that are in the government right now who are elected officials threatening people, trying to intimidate people, trying to bully people, thugs. But trust and believe that is going to be and is being and will be dealt with. Okay?
So all I can say, the truth hurts. You've been telling the truth, and it does hurt.
The thugs, punks, wimps, whatever you want to call them, who are elected officials in Baltimore City, maybe other places as well, are intimidating people, bullying people, cyberbullying people, doing all kinds of nefarious actions on people. But guess what? The chickens will be coming home to roost.
I must say this, though, and I've said this 3 times just during this show. You have some outstanding employees that work for the Baltimore City Election Board and the various other election boards around the state. But when you have poor leadership at the top, it can affect your whole process because you take your leadership and direction from your leaders. And it is clear Baltimore has failed for at least 10 years that I know of. At least 10 years. How do you have 10 years of the largest number of African Americans living in the Western District and you don't have an early voting site? That is voter suppression if I know it. So I not only blame Armstead v. Carter Jones, I blame the 4 state senators because they allowed it to happen.
Well, it's not just at the election board top, but it's all over throughout the Baltimore City government where you have poor leadership. So I want to do this. Let's go to, before we get Crystal Parker on, I asked.
It's hot.
I asked, did he do it? Did he didn't do it? Did he what did he do? Let's find out. Cue it up. What did he do? Did he do it? He didn't. We find out about Diddy.
It's just not fair. People don't know on what I've gone through. And then, boom, this video from March of 2016 is released with him and Cassie. And I just want you to watch this. Look at this guy right here. Go ahead. Fantastic. We've all done this before, right? We've run around.
That's a regular Thursday night for...
Look at this. Look at this with Cassie.
Oh, yeah. Really with his pink socks.
Okay, this is the video of Sean P. Diddy Combs in an Intercontinental Hotel beating the crap out of this young lady with a daggone towel on. Just a towel and some pink socks.
With his pink socks. Grabbing the bags, stomping her, grabbing her hair, dragging. What a pussy. That gets me so mad, bro. That gets me so upset.
And then there's another clip where he's throwing glasses or something at her. I don't even, right there. Go back a little bit, go back a little bit, go back a little bit. Yeah, go to all the way to the end. Maybe it's at the end when he's throwing the glasses at him while, keep going. Right there. Watch this. Look at this here. Look at the picture.
Yeah, he's throwing a vase or something at her.
Right.
In a hotel.
So this is them. So, okay, Adam. This comes out.
Okay, this is a podcast, PBD podcast, okay? Anybody can pull it up. This guy does a lot of podcasts. He's got a really nice setup, too. Got one of the best podcast setups I've ever seen. And he has guests on, but let me continue.
People react. 50 Cent reacts. This was a bad look. He comes out with his apology video. 50 Cent saying, who told him this was a good idea, okay? Go ahead and play this clip, Rob.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times, and I hit rock bottom. I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is things in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
Do you believe him? Do you think he's actually fully sorry? I got a lot of questions. Why has that video been hidden since 2016? That's 8 years.
Yeah. I'm going to continue this. It's just a little bit more. But why was the video? This is 8 years old. The hotel had this video. They said they allegedly gave him 50 grand to keep the video, under wraps. So it's 8 years. These people, let me go on.
Who's kept on to that video? Who else knew about this that didn't come out? His former assistant came out and said, are you surprised about this? And she was being pushed by the interviewer saying, well, did you know about this? I didn't know about this. They're trying to say if you knew about it and women are going through this, how come you're not telling other people about it? They're trying to say if you knew about it and women are going through this, how come you're not telling other people about it? Who else on the inside knew? There's just so many questions about a case like this. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions, and they're coming out. Sean Combs, P. Diddy is done. Stick a fork in him. He's done. Did he do it? Yes. The video said Diddy did it, and Diddy's done. Doc, quick, what's your thoughts on this horrific act? And have you seen the video?
Haven't seen it. Don't want to see it. Stuff that comes in Inquirer magazine and other magazines like that. I really have no interest in getting into discussions about stuff like that. I think it's sad, especially if the issues are true. But I think there are far more important issues than talking about some of the crazy stuff some of these millionaires and billionaires are doing. I just think there are far more issues that are important than discussing about what I call trash. This is trash.
Yeah, it's trash when you have somebody beating the crap out of a woman. And here's the thing, and this is how I take things and I roll them and I bring them into the issues that are going on here because I have a gift. You have people here in Baltimore City in elected official positions who are aiding and abetting, enabling people who intimidate women, sexually harass women, do the things that are going on that are unspeakable. Some of the things that I've heard have happened, and you have people who do that here. So, yes, women being abused is a serious issue that's going on in this country and going on all over the world and going on specifically in Baltimore City. You have a guy, okay.
You're telling the truth, though. You're telling the truth.
You have a guy who is going to a senior woman's home and then trying to intimidate her because she wants things done properly in her neighborhood regarding bike lanes and putting her home and information on social media. So you have...
The thing that hurts me, Sean, is we have all these black men in Baltimore City that care about some about black women, but not all of them. That troubles the hell out of me.
Yeah, that bothers me too as well. And we're going to talk about that and continue that, but I want to call Crystal... I'm going to call Crystal Parker, because I told her I'd be giving her a holler. I'll let her know. She'll give her title. Hey, Crystal. Hello, Crystal. We're getting in touch with Crystal.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, this is Crystal Parker on The Outsiders with superstar Doc Cheatham.
Hello, my dear, outstanding young lady here. Outstanding.
Hey, Doc. Good to hear your voice, sir.
What are you in the hallway? What are you in the wind tunnel? Crystal.
No, you know I'm always what is it called, multitasking.
Okay.
So, I am repositioning myself into my community office space so I can sit comfortably.
Okay, Crystal. The people want to know, what is your title? What do you do? Because they've got their hands raised. They want to know what's your title.
My self-proclaimed title is that of a whole communities collaborator.
Oh, that's better.
And what that translates into, my desire is to, through resources and information and education, to bring communities together to do just that, collaborate, so that we can have, we can be more effective in speaking and claiming what we want for our city, what we want for our communities. One of the concerns I have about our Baltimore is that we have too many silos, and so nothing gets done, and it's always a game of divide and conquer.
Yes, it is. I pulled up this article because I want to just get into this, and then we're going to talk about some other issues as well. But there was a Baltimore Banner article, and I saw it, and I said, wait a second. I want to let everyone know, full disclosure, Crystal and I have known each other for over 20 years. We were part of an organization, the Joshua Assessment Group, together, and I wanted to have her on the show. I've been trying to get her on the show since I started The Outsiders. But finally, she's on with us. And I saw this article, Sheila Dixon, a filthy street and residents who want politicians to put up or shut up. That's in the Baltimore Banner. What was going on with that situation?
Oh my goodness. So, to make a long story short, and a short story shorter, basically it was an article that really, I believe it was meant to debase or really kind of throw a jab at the current administration regarding neglect in some neighborhoods. But what it did in essence was it degraded and abased a community, which happened to be my community. You know, I met Ms. Dixon very early in my life as a high school student. You know, was of course around in her prior administration. So my philosophy on what a public servant would do would be if there is an issue that concerns you, then you show up to see what you can do to impact the issue in a positive way. You don't use media or a platform to go after someone else using a community. So my response to that was, quite frankly, if it's so damn important to her, then she could park her car or bring her entire campaign team to my neighborhood to help us clean up and to help to provide some supportive services. So she did a lot of things, but she never stopped or took the time to come to the community to find out what we already have in place, what we need assistance with, and how she could be, quote unquote, the public servant that she proclaimed to be.
Well, let me ask you a question. I'm reading here part of the article. I went through it, and it says here, this is a quote from you: "I will go toe-to-toe with anybody," I guess that includes Sheila at the time, who opposes, or who uses, I should say, this block, this corridor, to get a platform to get any title, regardless of who it is, because you haven't been here and you knew we were here the whole time. Did she mention something about not wanting to get out of her car and driving by that location and not wanting to come to the location or something to that effect?
Well, yes. So initially, the comments were made during, I believe it was, a media press conference when State's Attorney Ivan Bates, I believe, had endorsed Ms. Dixon. And again, he talked about the citation dockets and different things of that sort, which I think in their own way and utilized properly, they could do some good. But they have to come with some other things. Mm-hmm. And so she mentioned this community, and she mentioned Sandtown. When the reporter did his due diligence to find the other part of the story, and he told me about the comments about the dirt and the guys hanging out, my response was get out and come and help or find out what we're doing. So as it would go, the good reporter went back, provided that information to Ms. Dixon, because I don't believe he had talked with Ms. Dixon.
Was that Leo Sanderlin or Ryan Little?
That would be Lee Sanderlin.
Lee Sanderlin. Yeah, okay. I want to make sure we get credit. Okay.
Yes. So, he heard the comments on TV twice. Mm-hmm. He sought us out. Then I'm guessing looks like he sought out the mayor's team, and looks like he sought out Ms. Dixon. And so when I'm supposing, he mentioned what I said about getting out the car. Then Ms. Dixon's response was, she's generally by herself. She doesn't feel safe getting out there, and she might come out there, but not unarmed. She knows she's still friends with some retired officers who still have carrying permits. Why can't the guys just get their chicken boxes and move on? She and her daughter were previously in Hamden and were able to, their baby carriages and different things like that. So, so that was a response after my response, which Ms. Dixon, could have used in all her brilliance for a different response that would have, shored her up as a public servant.
It wasn't a smart political move.
To think about coming into a community with someone who was armed when, we are trying to prevent gun violence.
I understand. What she did, because she's, okay, they're still counting, but, all intents and purposes, Brandon is one. Not a good thing for Baltimore either. But what she did was politically stupid. It was a bubble hit thing to do. Handled it completely wrong. And read the article, folks. Baltimore Banner. We have Ms. Crystal Parker on to talk about that. But there was something else, because Sheila's done. You're doing good in the community. I know you got the grant and everything that helped in the community as well. But I want to get into an issue that we were just talking about, and then we can swing into Doc's question as well. I guess we can do a conglomerate here. And that has to do with the treatment of women that you're seeing going on. I know Miss Linda, Miss Linda, friends with her, Kelly Bigelow, and so on, other women. What do you think in regards to Baltimore City and the treatment of women and by elected officials and the things that you've heard and seen?
So, to be quite honest, I have heard, I have not seen. So I have heard of many instances where, several instances where women have been mistreated, or I would say targeted in Baltimore City.
Targeted, okay.
And quite a few of them, I know and I work with. So, I wouldn't be hesitant to really, jive with their viewpoints if they're saying this would happen. I have not personally endured that, nor have I seen that. But I've heard about issues as far as in the current circuit court, where there's been some bullying and mistreatment of women there. The targeting of Ms. Batts with the Facebook ads, Facebook and Twitter by Jed Weeks. I know that I've heard that Ms. Bigelow had an encounter with the 7th District Councilman. And Ms. Mary Hughes, I believe she also had an encounter or some sort of
James Torrance. With James Torrance.
From Councilman Torrance.
Yes.
So these have been things that, I have been told. I have not been there when they were done. But anybody on any level, just being even rude to a woman or being misogynistic to a woman, and this is not something that just started. We have plenty of organizations and institutions where, we have men who are at the helm, and, women are just treated like peons. We have that throughout the city of Baltimore. I mean, even the organization that I am now the head of, that was something that just was long-standing. You had no say. You were just there. You were there to be a secretary, take notes, what have you, but you really had no say. And that's been an overarching theme in Baltimore City for quite a long time. My thing is, I take things very personally. So, even, say in my own, family, if any man in my family, say, called a woman the B-word, then that's just like you calling me the B-word, because that's a woman. You understand what I'm saying?
No, we understand quite well. As a matter of fact, let me do this, because I know Doc's chomping at the bit. Doc, what questions or what do you want to ask Crystal in regards to any issues going on in Baltimore City? Because Crystal's very knowledgeable and in the know about a lot of things. Hello, Doc. Hello. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Doc's phone must have went out, but let me continue this. Okay, maybe he'll come back. Let me continue this. When it in regards to these issues, and I'm going to specifically focus on black women in Baltimore City, because just not in Baltimore City, but all over, it seems just recently, for some reason, there is an attack on black women. And what's ironic is a lot of times this attack is perpetrated or covered up or aided and abetted or enabled by either black men and or black women. What are your thoughts on that? Because that to me is just, it's crazy land.
Well, I mean, I think it all has to do with people, feeling like they're going to lose something if they speak up. Mm-hmm. My thing is that, you can be my best friend, but if I feel like you've done something wrong, and I've seen it, I've witnessed it, I've heard you say something, then I'm going to approach you about it. And I think that we have to get to that point where we're not so caught up on losing someone's favor in government or wherever that we think can help us, as opposed to losing our level of integrity and moral fiber as far as standing up for what is right. That's just the bottom line. Just as recently as, I believe it was last week, there was a lashing out in Congress where, and I get their names wrong, there's so many, I believe it was Congress, where one of the representatives, the young lady, she was white, She said something about the black congressperson or representative's eyelashes being fake. Totally inappropriate.
Okay.
These are people that are high elected officials, highly elected officials. You know, so when the woman responded and asked a question, so if I respond something about big back, something, poignant lips, whatever, would that be a problem? And then, of course, the general populace that was sitting there in the representative section, they went in on the black woman like it was something that she had initiated.
So that's typical. It's typical that the black women are being targeted.
So it's high up and far-reaching. But I think that on the ground level, you know, we have to understand that we're on the ground level for a reason. And being on the ground level gives you great possibilities. Being on the ground level gives you that space to maneuver where, listen, it was far like, you know, I guess my grandma used to say, well, I don't have anything much anyway, so I don't have anything to lose. But we do have a lot. What we have is we have our integrity, we have our moral fortitude. And so that is a lot. And when you're willing to compromise that because you think you need to be aligned with someone that you think is able to get you something, then that's where we falter.
Well, I have a theory, okay? And this theory has to do with what's going on with our election, the presidential election coming up. I had this theory, I put it out there. It wasn't just a theory, it was based off of information. And I was talking about the fact that black men are starting to pull away from the Democratic Party. People weren't liking it. If you're a black person, a black male, and you went to look somewhere else for a party affiliation, whether it was Republican or Independent or Green Party or whatever, if you were doing that, you would get ridiculed in the black community for doing so. How dare you not fully support the Democratic Party and actually have a mind of your own and ask questions and start looking somewhere else? And I said, no, you know what? There's a reason this is happening, and that's because they're uncloaking and showing that if you have one party that's simply carte blanche, get your vote, no matter what, a block of people, a whole block of people, they have the vote, and there's no competition, then this is what you're going to have. You're going to have a situation where they're just going to do whatever they want, and they're going to just go after their own, the people who are actually voting for them. And here's the example. Right now, and then I'm going to play this, and then I want you to comment. Right now, they have 22%, I think it's a little higher, of the black vote going to Donald Trump. That's insane, because 4 years ago, it was, what, 8% or something like that went for Trump? It's like 8%, 8%. And now it's up to 22, 23% of the black vote has gone over. And I said this was going to happen. I saw the trend happening. And I want to play this because this is actually plays into what we're talking about, believe it or not. Here's a clip of Roland Martin and him talking about this situation. Then we'll get to your response.
Its greatest threats are potentially independent third-party voters and drop-off voters, especially among young black women. Let's go back to my panel to have them talk about this here. And if you look at this panel, excuse me, I'm sorry. If you look at this poll, you look at the black voter PAC poll, you look at the higher learning poll, what you have is clear data, unlike all of these other polls that we have seen that are speaking to African Americans, These other polls, there's been a sliver of people in those polls. We're now talking about African Americans. Tyler, I'm going to go to you first. You were shaking your head when Morgan was talking. If you're Biden Harris, this should be fire alarms going off, red flags going off. This says they have got a problem. If you don't have black women going hard for you, you got a real issue. Red flags going off. This says they have got a problem. If you don't have black women going hard for you, you got a real issue.
Yeah, that's bad, right? That's real bad, okay? Roland Martin, who struggled to get through that segment. I really don't understand how anybody can listen to Roland Martin for more than 5 minutes, outside of just the insane things that he says on his network. He just struggled to get through just talking about that poll and explaining the poll. Maybe he was so stunned that he couldn't really say anything about it except the poll. Maybe he was so stunned that he couldn't really say anything about it except
Roland Martin couldn't get through. He was struggling to get through what I told people. I said this over a year ago because I saw the trend happening. Black folks are getting sick and tired, honey child. Looky here, y'all. All you Democrats coming here making all these promises of what you gonna do, and we paying more money now than we done ever paid before. Oh, this ain't gonna work. And then you're bringing the aliens and the illegal aliens or the undocumented or whatever you want to call them, and you're just bringing them in, and they're moving them in, and they're moving the black folks out, and they're taking the black folks down, and they're taking the black folks for places where they live, and they're getting credit cards, and they get millions and millions and trillions and billions of dollars, and they're getting licenses, and they can vote too. Go to the Bronx, New York. That's as red as you can get. Well, it was as red as you can get. Go to the Bronx, New York, and talk to those black folks, Baltimore. Hey, you Baltimore people, go to the Bronx and start talking like you talk here about this Democrat, that. Those people in the Bronx, they have moved over from Biden to Trump. They have just moved. Look at the videos. You can pull it up. So you go to the Bronx and start talking like that. And they'll tell you what you can do in the Bronx, because that's what's going on now, and the black women are starting to move away because they're saying they're not being treated right. Crystal, I mean, the audio, I've said a lot. What do you think about this trend with black women and moving away from the Democratic Party?
I think that we have to be conscious voters. I think we have to be conscious supporters. I remember when I was on state central committee and Ben Jealous, who was not the greatest nominee for governor, but anyway, as a part of the call and the commission is to support and advocate for the party candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember knocking on doors, and I remember specifically running into several black women who were not going to vote for Ben Jealous. Not because it was Ben Jealous, but because at that time, these were black small business owners.
Small business owners, okay.
And Hogan's philosophy and what he did, and he did come through for small business owners. And that's what my bread and butter, I get what you're saying, but my bread and butter is my business.
Bingo.
And this is the guy that has the platform and has shown and proven that he can help to activate and propel my business and other small businesses. So that's why he has my vote. And it's unfortunate that we have this two-party system. It's unfortunate that we don't have the level of information and education that voters should have. And I'll just be quite frank with you. I don't necessarily think, to be honest with you, that necessarily the black community is going to fare any better with whether it's predominantly Republican or Democratic.
When you're competing, it's different. when you're competing.
Right. The reason why I say that is because if the community itself does not support itself and does not see the urgency of coming together as a community, as Black people, then we're always going to, suffer to some extent. If the community doesn't become self-supporting, self-actualizing, dig into its own economic power, its own, whether you take a spiritual side, whatever it is, but in its own greatness of building and creating, we're lost anyway. We're lost from the beginning. So it doesn't really, for me, it doesn't necessarily matter. I think also that what we have done and has been not a good thing to do is, I don't vote for someone just because they look like me. I have to understand your level of integrity. I have to understand your agenda. I have to see what you're already done. I have to see your level of your skin in the game.
So let me ask you a question. Okay, you just said that. That's exactly what I say. Doc agrees. We're all saying the same thing. Okay, I'm not going to vote for you, number one, because of a letter next to your name, number one.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. You have to show me that what you're going to bring to the table is going to be best for me and my family. Okay, number two, I'm not going to vote for you because we're the same gender. That is ridiculous. I'm not going to vote for you because you're a man. I got to vet you and hear what you plan on doing. Number three, I'm not going to vote for you because we're the same color or race. I'm not going to vote for you because, okay, let's say you're a Black man, right? So I'm supposed to, because I'm a Black man, automatically vote for you? Are you crazy? That is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in the election process, is people saying, I'm going to vote for this person because we have the same genitalia. I'm not going to vote for you because you've got a Johnson. I'm just saying, I'm not going to vote for you for that reason. I'm not going to vote for you because we have the same complexion or we're the same color, even if we've been born in the same city or the same age. That's the problem.
But what I would add to that, though, Sean, is in observation of that, and like I said, we're on the same page with that. But one of the things that also happens on the opposite end too is that, so say we get down, and I'll take the also work campaign. There is some level of, I'm not going to call it jealousy. I don't even know what the term is. But when it gets down to, okay, so it's a white man, it's a Black man, okay. The Black man didn't win, okay, the woman won. The Black woman won, okay. I'm a woman, I just don't think she's strong enough to do it. I don't know, I don't feel comfortable voting for her. And it's not because she can't do it, and I'm not talking about Alton Brook as far as knowing her or anything. I'm just talking about the way as I've grown up and seen women think for whatever reason it is. Maybe it's, that, she thinks the pettiness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go and vote for that white man because this colored girl, and that's sarcastic. This colored girl, I don't think she's going to
No, that's a wrong reason to vote for somebody.
Right, so you have women who will do that. And even if you look in years past in our electoral process of even presidents, when it got down to there being the option between a man and a woman, getting close to being a man or a woman, the United States went for the man, not the woman. And the majority of the voters were women.
As long as they vote for the person that is going to be best for the job.
I know, but it wasn't necessarily that person was the best person for the job. But what I'm saying is that so we talk about the progression of things. Okay, so America's not ready. Way back when, America's not ready for a Catholic president. Okay, we've been there, done that. Okay, America's not ready for a black president. Okay, all right. Now America's not ready. We did the black president. Okay, but America's still not ready for a woman president. So we're gonna just vote for whoever the man is because we just not ready yet.
Well, let's get back to Alsobrook because the presidency is big. That's a big issue, and we can deal with that at another time because I want to. Don't get me wrong, but what you were saying about Angela Alsobrook, this is how I do things, and I was told a long time ago, Sean, everybody's not like you. Oh yeah, I noticed that. I looked at forget the fact that she's a woman, she's black, and all. I don't give a crap. What has she done? What's her record other than being someone who's put black people in jail in Prince George's County? What has she done civil rights wise? She told the story about Seneca, South Carolina. I have family from Seneca, South Carolina. Heck, we might be related. Okay? Because she's got family from Seneca, so do I. Okay? But the thing is, what's her record as far as I look at rights, upholding people's rights, civil rights. I look at what they've done as far as helping the community, uplifting those who need to be uplifted, going in and helping folk, putting together, if there are legislation, good legislation, not things that have been done to block people or hurt people like Antonio Hayes with the skate park issue. Okay, so I look at what have you done, and I really didn't get a lot or see a lot. It was a lot of rah-rah. I went to one of her events at one of the hotels downtown, and there was a lot of big names there too, walking her with the chest out and all these, yeah, right. Not impressed. And I'm like, what's her record? What has she done in this rah-rah party that was going on? And I really, frankly, Crystal and others, I just didn't get a lot of meat. And Trone, I mean, good people were talking about stuff that Trone did to help people. And I actually met and spoke with David Trone myself. Also, Brooke never reached out to her, didn't hear anything from her or her people. So that's what I look at. I don't go with white man, black woman, older black woman, young white man, Indian man, this guy's an Eskimo. I don't go with that. I just look at what's your record, and what have you done, and what are you going to do to help people in the community, stand up for people's civil rights, and so on. And I didn't see it. So this situation with her and Hogan, here we go. Hogan's got a record. You should hear the way the people who work for the state, they love Larry Hogan. They love, and the people who have small businesses, like you just said. So you're going to have to, it's going to be literally, hey, vote for her because she's a black woman type of thing. What do you think?
Look at the folk right here from Baltimore City, black males who have served in his cabinet. I mean, just everyday ordinary people that, they had some skills, but they served in his cabinet. I mean, so I just feel like it's going to be an uphill battle. And, I believe that, amongst the myriad of things that I do right here in this city, particularly along the 40th District Corridor, from Hamden all the way to Morrell Park, I do a lot of work state and national-wise with several organizers who happen to be based predominantly in PG County. And there had never been, from that level, really anything policy-wise positive that they had to say about Ms. Alsobrook. So, I believe that, Baltimore carried her, and I believe that based on the fact that so many of our elected officials, pretty much all of our elected officials, supported her. I think that's what carried her campaign. And I mean, I think that, and the air was, I even just heard in the air that, it was really about the fact, some of it was about the fact that she was a black woman, and as a predominantly African-American city or town, we can't let this white man, outshine or outrank this black woman, so we need to get behind her. I don't think that's a good reason for supporting. That's not a good reason for supporting anybody. I do think that if David Trone had not, I think if he hadn't thrown so much money out there and had just really stayed focused on what he has done and continued to do, if people could have saw that more, I think that for the most part, it might have been a different race. Again, I didn't get too much into the weeds of the race just because there was so much going on just right here in my neighborhood that I needed to attend to, just on the more local side. But neither of them were really particular favorites to me. However,
not either.
Oh, here we go. What was it? Did your guy show up for the equipment?
Neither of them.
No, I had the same feeling. The only thing I tell folks is this, and I sent a Facebook out to my 10,000 Facebook folks. I congratulated her, I commended her, and I still have her signs up in my park. But I did say one thing. You got 7 signs in my neighborhood we've never seen, Miss Angela.
Nope.
I can say that Trone did come
in here. Did
answer our question.
He did.
Angela didn't do either.
Nothing.
I still got maybe 16 of her signs up, and I'm going to leave them up because I want my community to know this might be the first black woman that becomes a senator from Maryland. But and I told Larry Gibson and all of them folks, you want me just to vote for someone because she's black and she's a female. I don't vote like that.
Thank you. No. What have you done? What's your record in civil rights? What's your record in helping people? What's your record in, other than putting black guys in prison in Prince George's County? Other than that, what have you done? Write it down. Show me.
Right, and also, I spoke with a couple of the organizers here, and she had to kind of, from what I was hearing, she had to be pushed and urged to come to Baltimore. It took her a long time. She sort of thought for late.
Why did she have to be pushed to come to Baltimore?
She showed up in Baltimore late. I think she might have assumed that people knew who she was. and people did not.
Delusional.
People did not. I heard the name, but I know what she looked like, what she done, whatever. But if you recall, look at when David Trone showed up in Baltimore, and look at how far behind that Miss Olsen Brooks showed up in Baltimore. And
Charles been here 5 times that I know of. That's for Baltimore City. It's sad, but I think the hard questions got to be asked of the former governor and her. I think we're doing ourselves an injustice if we don't have a black agenda and we get both of them to answer the question. Now, mind you, Angela did not even respond to us. Until I blasted some of the people on Facebook, they didn't even have a sign here. Now I know I got at least 20 Angela signs up in my park.
Okay, so in order for her to put up signs, because you didn't really get her to put them up, but in order for her to do that, you had to blast them on your Facebook page. Somebody in her campaign.
They shut me up. They brought the signs to me, and they put it on themselves.
Well, that was nice. So let me say this, Crystal. I got to get this out. That was nice of them, Doc. However, where were these same people in her campaign to get her to answer your questionnaire?
I'm not going to hold my breath, but we have invited her. We have invited her and Hogan to come to our Juneteenth event here at our parking playground so that they can address us. But all I got to say is, and I've done this once before. I did this with the what's the name of that group that goes around, gets money, but they don't deal with crime and violence. Safe Streets.
Safe Streets.
I told Safe Streets, I said, if you had the nerve to put anything up in my neighborhood, I'm going to tear it down. So you won't see no Safe Street signs here. You don't represent us. You don't come to our neighborhood. I said, don't put nothing up in my neighborhood because I'm going to tear it down.
See, that's why he's the co-host.
So listen. So let me say this really quickly. So I have, and in our dirty, scary neighborhood over here, I have, in the 2800 block alone, I believe it is, where it's mostly vacant houses, some with roofs caving in. There are, there's one, but there might be two of those big Angela Olsen Brooks signs on the vacant house. So that meant someone had to walk onto a vacant house that I think might even have had or been next to a house with a one of those red don't enter signs, right? And so what I'm having a problem with, and then there has been no one that I saw that was walking up the street that canvassed North Avenue. I don't believe there was one mayoral candidate who canvassed West North Avenue from the 3200 block down to the 1900 block. I can't see beyond there. Or any senatorial candidate who canvassed this area. And what I have a problem with is when anybody, as I said in that article, anybody is running for any office, but yet you come to a space, you see I think there's opportunities for people to be good opportunities. So if I had shown up and there's a bunch of vacant houses, dilapidated buildings, I would have taken some money and came back with a crew and cleaned up. That's just me. But no one's even there to walk me because they don't think people over here vote.
Yes, that's the reason.
They don't think in my neighborhood. They know we don't vote in my neighborhood. That's the kind of disrespect, but it's our fault. Because I think a new day has dawned. I think a new day has dawned to the fact that now rich white folks and black folks are now beginning to catch hell. I've identified 8 things that white folks and rich black folks, like in Armstead area, were on Easy Street. Now they're not on Easy Street. Let's look at Baltimore. Baltimore is a middle class issue. Let's look at gas station with drugs. We've always had gas station with drugs. Let's look at food markets. Oh, Emerson Village, now not going to have a food market. Let's look at homicides. That didn't happen. Let's look at squeegee boys. I still got squeegee boys on Fulton Avenue. Let's talk about Charm City Bus. It only goes through white neighborhoods. Let's look at dirt bikes. Dirt bikes wasn't an issue until our black kids start going down to white neighborhoods. I'm saying a new day has dawned because rich black folks and white folks are catching hell. And I'm saying black folks like Ashburton, y'all got to come and meet with us because you're catching hell like we are.
That's the only one thing I can say to that is a new day. Yes, it is.
And like you said previously, Doc, there has to be a black agenda. What I also have a problem with is that we are always so damn apologetic about wanting for us first. What are we apologizing for? And this has opened up this space for us to literally be more to be eliminated because we want to tiptoe and we don't want to speak
Well, here's the reason why people tiptoe.
Amen, Crystal.
Crystal, you're right. But here's the thing. One of the reasons why you have people in the black community who tiptoe is because you have black folks, the overseers on the plantation, who have their bullwhips, intimidation, and so on.
Are you talking about Antonio Hayes?
Pumpkinhead is one of them. But you have black folks who are in position of power, elected officials, who are overseers on a plantation with other black folks. The overseers back in the day in slavery, they weren't white guys, they were black guys. They were the overseers. They were the ones who did the whipping. Okay, for the most part, yes. So you have this system, and if you do something, you're going to have people to intimidate. That's why I was told, Sean, you should stop talking about people. Remember Donnie Glover at the cop and gala? This is what I was told. You should stop talking about people. And you get threats coming, and you get all kinds of innuendos, and you get elected officials. I'm not going to say names, but that situation is going to be dealt with. And you get these people who threaten women, who get people in organizations to do the threat. So you say tiptoe. Yeah, if you have this going on, nobody's speaking up about it, and you have this fear factor, oh, you doing that? You got to watch what you say. What? Crystal, that's one of the reasons why you have this tiptoe thing going on. It's Baltimore's go along, get along, let's just go ahead and let us say what we're doing. Let us do what we're doing, say what we're doing. Don't you dare say nothing. Now you can be nice and quiet because you have bullies who are elected officials who are attempting to intimidate people. Okay?
I would love to get a group together. I think we need to do it as soon as possible. And let's put together a black agenda for the candidates that are running for the United States Senate from Maryland. Yes, I'm talking about Hogan and also Brooke. We need to have a black agenda that we can agree on, 10 to 15 issues that we can agree on, and let's collectively, if 10 organizations are requesting that they answer our questionnaire, maybe, also Brooke will answer it if a number of us come together. Crystal got her group, I got my group, Linda got her group, Mary got her group, Lawrence Bell got his group. If we all come together and can at least agree on a black agenda that we can agree on, then we give it to both of them. But I do know this, black folks, for Hogan, y'all need to go to hell.
Well, look. The opinions that were stated were those of Doc Cheatham. Look, go ahead, Crystal.
Black agenda. It is imperative for me that, some of the same young men and women, whether they're out here on the corners selling drugs, whether they're squeegeeing, whether they are homeless, whatever, that they be a part of that conversation. Because, there are a lot of us, yes, we have dealt with some things, but most of us have not endured some of the things that they have endured. So, yes, we can talk about some of the reasons why they might be doing what they're doing, but we don't know all of the reasons. And I just believe that until we have a holistic agenda that treats the symptoms, that we come together and demanding power for that, and we come together and understand who is really collectively a part of our own community that we need to be hand in hand with. I think that it's going to be viewed as rhetoric. Not from any of those organizations or entities that you've named out, but there's so many organizations in our community that they started out with a great agenda. They were doing this. They were genuine. They had integrity, and then all of a sudden, they don't go to certain communities anymore. They only show up in communities where the mayor's office tells them to go, or where there's a photo op.
Are you talking about Ashburton?
No, I'm talking about Ashburton.
I am. Are you talking about Greater Montgomery Coordinated Committee? I am. I'm calling names. I'm too old to lie. I'm calling names.
Okay, guys, let's do this.
No, I'll
because the show is coming to an end. Guys, we can go on. We can go on for another hour. So let's do this. Let's agree to have a second part because we can go on for another hour, but we gotta shut it down. But yes, I do agree there should be some type of collaborative put together to start. Okay, then and here's another thing: if you putting collaborative together and you got black folks coming together like this, some people not going to like it. There's going to be some threats. There's going to be intimidation. They're not going to like it. You're going to have pushback from people, from elected officials, from other folks. So y'all got to understand, if you're going to bring together black folks in a collaborative to do good, you're going to have pushback. So you got to understand that. But
all I can say is we've done a black agenda for the last 10 years in a row.
Well, we need to keep going.
Last 10 years in a row, we've done a black agenda and we've shared it with folks. And yes, they have retaliated against us for it.
Yes, they have.
Retaliated against us for it.
Yes, that's what they do.
That's why James Charles wouldn't even answer it.
And if that indeed is the case,
You have the last word, Crystal.
If that indeed is the case, if people are retaliating, then that means that we're doing the right thing. So.
Well, on that note, another episode of The Outsiders. I'd like to thank my special guest, Crystal Parker, for being on, and of course, the superstar co-host, Doc Cheatham. Everyone, thanks a lot, and thanks, Crystal, for being on with us, and Doc, thanks for being such a great... Good trouble, because that's what we do. Okay, y'all, take care.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Bye-bye. Okay, another episode of The Outsiders, and we will be back next week to make some good trouble. So I want everybody to take care.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
And God bless.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.